They keep inviting you. The group run on Saturday, the buddy who wants a training partner, the coworker who swears it's more fun with company. And every time, something in you quietly says, no. And you can't fully explain why without sounding cold. So you run alone. Again. That choice says more about your psychology than almost anything else about you. And most people, including you, have never really understood why. This isn't about being antisocial. It isn't about being difficult. And it definitely isn't about not liking the people who ask. It's about something far more specific, far more honest, and far more human than any of those explanations give you credit for. Because when you step out that door by yourself, into the quiet, you're not avoiding anyone. You're reaching for something the rest of your day keeps taking away. Let's talk about what that actually is. Here's what most solo runners never say out loud. Think about how much of your day belongs to other people. Your calendar is full of meetings someone else scheduled. Your phone answers to whoever texts first. At work, you respond. At home, you show up. Even your rest gets interrupted. A notification, a question, a hey, quick thing. For most of your waking hours, your attention is something other people spend. And somewhere in all of that, a quiet hunger builds. Not for company. You get plenty of company. The hunger is for the opposite, for one stretch of time that answers to no one. 1 hour where no one needs a decision from you, an opinion from you, a version of you shaped for their benefit. A group run, however good the people are, is still that, still coordinating pace, still holding a conversation, still, in some small way, performing. Running alone is the one place that stops. That feeling has a name in psychology. It's called psychological ownership, the deep sense that something is genuinely, unconditionally yours. Not owned on paper, owned in your bones. Researchers who study it, going back to the work of John Pierce and his colleagues, found that ownership isn't a luxury or a bit of selfishness. It's a core human need. We're wired to want a territory that's ours, a space, a time, an experience that no one else can schedule over or reshape. And here's the problem with modern life. Almost nothing qualifies anymore. Your time is allocated. Your energy is spoken for. Even your hobbies quietly become things you do partly for other people. So when you lace up and head out alone, you're not being distant. You're claiming the 1 hour that's still, completely, yours. The road doesn't want anything from you. It doesn't need you to be impressive. It just lets you be there. For someone whose whole day is spent being useful to others, that isn't a small thing. It's the whole thing. There's a man named Marcus, 38, from Seattle. He works in product management, good at it, well paid, and completely surrounded by people from 9 to 6. Stand-ups, syncs, one-on-ones. His whole job is other humans. For years, his wife kept nudging him to join her running club. Nice people, good cause, Saturday mornings. And every time, he felt this strange resistance he couldn't justify. He liked those people. He just didn't want them there. One morning, he finally admitted why. He'd been running alone at dawn for months, before anyone in the house was awake, and he realized it was the only 40 minutes in his entire week where no one was in his head but him. No pace to match, no conversation to hold, nobody to read. He told his wife, carefully, that it wasn't about her. It was that the solitude was the point. She got it faster than he expected. Marcus still runs alone every morning. He says it's the only reason he has anything left to give the rest of the day. And when you look closer, that solitude is doing something specific to your brain. There's a network up there neuroscientists call the default mode network, the system that switches on when you're not focused on anything demanding. It's the source of that endless mental background noise, replaying the awkward thing you said, rehearsing tomorrow, circling the same worry for the 10th time. Researchers link an overactive default mode network to rumination, those self-referential loops that feed anxiety. A conversation keeps part of that machinery running because you're still tracking another person. But running alone, with just your breath and your footing and the rhythm of the road, quiets it. Not because you're forcing calm, because your attention finally has somewhere clean to rest. That's why the idea you couldn't reach at your desk suddenly arrives at mile 3. The noise dropped, and something true floated up. There's a second layer, too. Psychologists talk about self-concept clarity, how clear and stable your sense of who you are actually is. Studies, including foundational work by Jennifer Campbell, connect higher self-concept clarity to better decisions, lower stress, and more life satisfaction. And here's the thing about being alone on a run. There's no audience, no version of yourself you're managing, no performance. There's just you, the road, and whatever is actually true about you when everyone else falls away. People with a strong sense of self often protect solitude fiercely, not because they dislike others, but because that's where the self gets to stay in focus. You're not withdrawing from people. You're returning to yourself. There's a woman named Elena, 44, from Austin. Divorced 2 years, 2 teenagers, a job in nursing where her entire shift is spent absorbing other people's worst days. She started running alone at night, after the kids were down. Not for fitness, she says, but because it was the first silence she'd had in 15 years that no one could interrupt. The first few weeks, she'd cry on the run. Then, slowly, she stopped crying and started thinking. Clearly. About what she actually wanted for the first time in a long time. Elena describes it simply. She says the run gave her back her edges, the parts of herself that had been sanded down by years of being needed. That's self-concept clarity in one sentence. Not a hobby, a way of finding the outline of herself again in the dark. She's had friends offer to join her. She always says no. And now she doesn't feel bad about it. But let's be honest about something. Not every solo run comes from a healthy place. Sometimes, I prefer to run alone is true, and sometimes it's a wall. Sometimes running by yourself isn't about protecting your peace. It's about avoiding a conversation you don't want to have, a person you're quietly angry at, a feeling you'd rather outrun than sit with. Psychologists have a name for that too: experiential avoidance. Using an activity, even a good one, to keep from facing something inside you. The difference is subtle, but it matters. Healthy solitude sends you back to your life fuller, more patient with the people you love, more present when you return. Avoidance does the opposite. It makes coming back feel worse, and the run becomes the only place you can breathe. You usually know which one it is. If your alone time makes you kinder when you walk back through the door, it's yours in the best way. If it's the only place you can stand to be, that's worth looking at gently. The running isn't the problem, but it might be pointing at one. So the next time someone invites you and you feel that quiet no rise up, you don't have to feel guilty about it. And you don't have to explain it perfectly either. You're not cold. You're not broken. You're protecting the 1 hour that still belongs entirely to you, in a life that gives most of your hours to everyone else. That's what running alone really is. Not a rejection of people, not an escape from them, a conversation with yourself, the one you can't have anywhere the world is watching. And maybe that's the thing we don't say enough, that choosing solitude, on purpose, can be one of the healthiest things a person does. That needing an hour that's only yours doesn't make you selfish. It makes you honest. So here's what I want to ask you. Drop a comment below. What was the run, the specific one, where you finally understood why you needed to be alone out there? Tell us the story. We actually want to know. And if this felt like it was describing something you've never quite put into words, that's what this channel is for. Stick around. We'll keep going.